We're here at Sakakawea Village in the Knife River Indian Village's National Historic Site to learn more about the site, to help with the Park Service's preservation efforts, to teach students, to interact with the Native community and learn together about this really important site. This site is often called Sakakawea Village, and the reason for that is when Lewis and Clark came here in 1804, they camped about 10 or 12 miles downstream from this village, and this is where a woman named Sakakawea was living. She went with the Corps of Discovery and Lewis and Clark, and so the village has taken her name, but really it's the Sakakawea Village. It's the village of a division of the Adatzes.
In 2009, there was a large flood event in the park that brought erosion of archaeological sites to the forefront. And so as part of that response, we started a long-term process to start addressing the erosion of archaeological resources in the park. The natural attrition of rain and freeze and thaw cause a slow kind of erosion to happen. The Sakakawea Village has a stabilization from 1979 so that the river is not eroding the site, but the erosion is occurring at the top of the bank where most of the archaeology is located. It slumps off in pieces over time. And so what we're doing is to try and identify the areas where those erosional things are occurring, to kind of clean up some of those slumps so that they don't fall down the edge of the bank, and then do a light profiling of the bank so that we can learn more about the site.
The reason they're doing this is the bank here is at some risk to erosion, so they want to investigate archaeological deposits right at the cut bank next to the Knife River here. So do some archaeology there, so we record what might be there before it's lost, basically. We have robust indications of hearths and corn storage pits and individual posts we could see, so we know a lot more about the details of the house forms. The site, from a remote sensing standpoint, it's a little bit unusual because there's so many more features of interest. It's an archaeological term which could mean a hearth or a corn storage pit or a bird post. We call those features until we know what they are. What's impressed me here is there's so many more features in this site than I've seen at nearby sites. And even under what we think is the village plaza, we think there's houses underneath that too, which we haven't seen before.
The arrangement of the houses is different in this part of the site than over here, so we're hoping this gives us a good comparison about differences between houses. We have so many experienced people out here. Yesterday we had 3 Bardington MS2 systems and an MS3 system. So that was 4 on a site, and I've never been on a site with more than 2 operating at once. And that's where we want to get, where we can not just look at our own little study, but see how it's complementary to other people's data.
Archaeology has really changed a lot in the last 20 years, and we use all kinds of new technologies that let us understand something about the surface without excavation. And so we're using 4 different methods to document the site. One of them is called terrestrial LiDAR. Some people think of it as laser scanning. We're going to get a very detailed, high-resolution 3D model of the edge of the site. We're also doing something called magnetic gradiometry, which is a surface geophysical technique, and it allows us to map variations in the magnetic properties of the soil. So people build fire hearths, dig pits, and move soil around, and all those things change how the magnetic field is modified by the site surface. So that magnetic map allows us to identify hearth features, it allows us to identify posts and pits.
I, a lot of times, will describe it for people sort of like when you go to the doctor's office, and when you go to the doctor's office, they all might do some imaging and things to see what might be ailing that person, and then they make a very small incision. And that's sort of what archaeology is becoming now, is a lot of digital imaging technologies to help us really focus on the things that we would be interested in learning about, and that reduces the amount of excavation and impact we have to the site. Right now, the largest excavation that we've been doing at the site is a 1-inch soil core.
Archaeologists today are very conscious of being respectful, and it's important for sites like this because as they're eroding away, after that, they're gone forever.
Nature and preservation are not fixed things. You just always have to roll with it, roll with the punches, and adjust your plan as need be. And to be able to look out and see the earth lodges and sort of visualize that, it's kind of surreal. So they mess with it, they play with the data a lot on computers. It's really cool to be able to manipulate that data and then play with the numbers in the software programs they use, and we can see physically almost what is there beneath the ground.
These technologies are becoming more and more important and widespread. It really is now something very integrated into archaeology and how it's done today.
We're also doing what's called magnetic susceptibility mapping, and that's a way of measuring some of the magnetic properties of the soil. Another piece is what's called photogrammetry that allows us to take a whole bunch of different pictures from different angles of a surface of the exposed cut bank, and the computer will generate a 3D model of that exposed cut bank. And finally, we're doing something called electromagnetic survey, which gives us some other aspects of the magnetic signal, and we can put all that together, and that gives us a really detailed picture of the subsurface without having done any excavation or without having done any disturbance to the site.
I get excited no matter how tired. We all huddle inside around the computers and look at it. Just big smiles all around, knowing that we got good data and that things are going well. It's worth it.
We haven't had a chance to really analyze our data yet, so after working out here for 7 or 8 hours, we have dinner, and then it's 2 or 3 hours on the computer at night to try to figure out what we found for the day. So what the machines record are digital numbers, and we have to turn those into pictures, basically. So we assign colors and different shades of gray to the numbers to make a picture of. Well, I usually spend about a good solid 2 weeks on a report, so I have to revisit the data and try to analyze them a little better, make better graphics or pictures of them, and then I'll interpret what I could infer from the data, basically. So I think that's a hearth. I think this is a storage pit, this type of thing.
And then after that, it's more long-term, and not only will we be, reporting on our own results, we'll try and put them together and see what we can say when they're all merged. And just on a personal level, the collegiality and the fun we have in camp and everything. I mean, who wouldn't want to do this if they were invited in?
It's been a real great team effort, as always. Projects like this, I think, are really an interesting way to bring people together to learn about the past.
I think it's really important that we're investigating the history here because it's been so long ignored, just Native history in general. It's time that it comes to the forefront, and it's time that more projects are done like this, especially in respectful, appropriate ways.
Being able to see it and learn these tips and tricks from all of the people, Dr. Dalen, Mark, everyone. I think it's invaluable to have this experience. Everything that I'm learning from all of the experienced people around me there's no way you can learn that in a classroom.
It's incredible because one day you'll look back and these will be the people that are mentioned and you were their students.